Hello ladies and gentlemen, and welcome back to another episode of Gizmo Joe. Today we're going to be taking a look at the Xiaomi Mi Box S. Now, this is an Android media playing box by Xiaomi that you can get in the United States. Those of you who are in the US know that Xiaomi phones, or maybe you've never heard of them, are quite difficult to get over there. You have to resort to essentially importing it from, the likes of GearBest or whatever. I think you may even be able to get some models on Amazon, but I'm not 100% sure on that. But if you've been watching this channel for any length of time, you know that I really like Xiaomi products. And so when I saw that the Mi Box S, which normally retails for about $60 US, was only $40 at Walmart, I had to pick one up. So let's just take a look at the box really quick. You'll notice that it says up here that it's got the Chromecast built in, so I'm curious about that particular feature. It's got Google Assistant, so I'm assuming this has a voice recognition remote. And just going by the front here, you got a 4K Ultra HD set-top box. That means if you got a 4K TV, this guy will output in 4K resolution, provided that you have 4K content. Ultra high-definition Blu-rays, things like that. So it's powered by Android TV. So if you have a TV that already has Android TV integrated into it, the setup, the UI, the user interface is going to be very, very familiar to you. It looks like it comes with a free HDMI cable. That's pretty sweet. And it says 3,000 plus apps. I doubt all 3,000 apps are installed, but it's just basically saying that it's compatible with 3,000 apps, including some of your most popular kind of streaming video services like Netflix, Vudu, YouTube, HBO Now, Starz, Showtime, Sling TV, Spotify, etc., etc. So that all looks good. If we flick it over to the side here, it shows you what comes in the box. So you obviously get the box itself. You get a Bluetooth voice remote, which is pretty sweet. So that's kind of like your Amazon Fire Stick. I believe a lot of those have voice remotes. You get an HDMI cable, which is always welcome, and you get a power adapter. Now, I bought this in the US. I'm back in Australia now, by the way. For those of you who watch my channel with any regularity, know that I fly back and forth a little bit. And so this will have a US power adapter, but I'm assuming most of these power adapters with these bricks here are rated for 120 to 240, so I should just be able to pop an Australian adapter onto that, and I should be able to plug it into the wall, no problem. If not, I probably got a few power adapters lying around. I'm sure that won't be too much of an issue. So if we look on the back here, it says Mi Box S runs on the latest Android TV, which has Google Assistant and Chromecast built in. Cast your favorite TV shows, download apps and games from Google Play, watch the news, switch to radio, voice search, and personalized recommendations, mean more time being entertained, blah, 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 blah. Okay, so that all looks pretty good. So again, if you are familiar with Android TV, this is sort of what it looks like, and I'll show you later in the video once it's all hooked up to my TV and everything. But let's have a look what it says here. It's got Chromecast built in, so that's pretty sweet. So that means you're going to be able to mirror whatever's on your phone to the Mi Box, which means that you don't have to have a separate Chromecast if you like to do that sort of thing, which is always handy. One device, two different functions. That's pretty cool. So it says 4K Ultra HD plus HDR. So if your TV supports all those things, it means that you're going to get that content, provided that the source that you're streaming from or whatever also supports 4K Ultra HD and HDR. You're going to be able to get that. HDR is high dynamic range. Basically just means that your colors pop a little bit more, your blacks are blacker, so on and so forth. It says Google Assistant built in. The Mi Box S now offers a smarter viewing experience with Google Assistant built in. Ask it questions, discover the best content, control your smart devices around your home, all with your voice. So if you've got like a Google Home Mini and you got a Nest and all that sort of stuff, the Internet of Things devices, you'll be able to essentially tie this all in with the Mi Box. And I'm assuming, I haven't tested this, but I'm assuming you'll be able to control it all with the Mi Bluetooth voice remote. And it's got a little bit of technical information here. That it's got a quad-core CPU, a 3 plus 2 core GPU. I don't know why it's called a 5-core, but anyway. The Mi Box S features a high-performance CPU and GPU that makes games really pop and keep you entertained, paired with a Bluetooth gamepad for extra fun. So we know that this is actually compatible with Bluetooth game controllers, so that's pretty cool too. You look down here, here's the actual model number. It's the M19A MDZ22AB. Again, made in China. So again, you can get these guys at Walmart. Now, they normally retail for about $60, but as I said earlier, I got mine for $40, and that's why I picked it up, because I said, I don't really need another Android TV box, but for that price, I can't pass it up. I got to check this out. Now, I am being a bit disingenuous here because I've already opened this. I like to always just open things just to make sure that everything's all right and in there. But let's crack it open and take a look. So what we have here is the Mi Box itself. I'm going to set this off to the side just for now so that we can have a look at what's in the rest of the box. So in here you have what looks like a quick start manual, and sure enough, that's basically what's in there. So if we look at this, it actually says that you have your audio out. So that's 3.5 mil, so that's pretty good, but for those of you using optical, you might be a bit disappointed. But I'm assuming if you connect it via HDMI and you have your optical soundbar or whatever connected to your TV, it will play through that. I don't see why it wouldn't. Now this guy has a USB, so you're going to be able to expand the storage because I think it's a pretty paltry 8 gigabytes. Now I'm not sure because it doesn't say on the box, but I'm almost positive when I looked it up before that it's only got 8 gigabytes of built-in storage. So you're definitely going to want to get a USB stick if you're the type of person that likes to put a bunch of apps, especially games, because a lot of your high-end games, which this guy should be capable of running, clock in at, sometimes a gigabyte, even more than that. So you're going to want to get yourself maybe a 32 or 64 gig USB stick and plug it in the back there. And then you get your power port. The thing that I find a bit disappointing with this particular box is that there's no micro SD card slot. I would prefer a micro SD card to expand the storage rather than a USB because the USB is going to be poking out the back of it. Now I know for most people that seems like a nitpicky thing to say, but the reason why it wouldn't have a micro SD port is beyond me. I'm not really sure. So again, this is just a quick start manual. If you look here, you got your warranty cards and all that sort of thing. That's all boring stuff that nobody reads. So I'm going to set that off to the side. Now let's open this guy up. So in here, what do we got? We have HDMI cable. Now, again, this is feels actually quite nice. It's rubberized. It feels pretty heavy-duty gauge. I'm probably sure it's a Xiaomi branded HDMI cable, which it is. They don't have to include this, but it's always nice to see some extras thrown in. I mean, can't really complain. Here's your power brick. It's pretty standard. Nothing to call home about or anything like that. But like I said, because I'm in Australia, I'll have to pop a adapter on there. I'm sure I'll be able to. I think it actually said in the manual there that it's rated from 100 to 220 volt, so it should be fine there. Now here's your remote. So the remote actually looks quite nice. I'm just going to open it. I haven't opened it yet. So it's plastic. It's not metal. It doesn't feel super cheap, but it doesn't feel super premium either. So you notice it has the Google Voice Assistant button there. It's got a dedicated Netflix button, app button, back button, assuming that's a home button. Live, maybe that's for live TV or something, I'm not sure. It looks like a volume rocker, and then you got your essentially select. I mean, all this stuff, it's got some audible clicking involved, but it's pretty bare bones, pretty basic. It doesn't come with batteries, and it looks like it uses AAA, so I'll have to grab a couple of those. Actually, I'm not even sure if I have any in my house, but that's beside the point. But it is Bluetooth remote, which is nice, so you don't have to mess around with dongles or anything like that. And yeah, I mean, it doesn't blow me out of the water. It's pretty standard remote, but seems pretty good. I'll have to test it and find out. Now, let's go back to the box real quick. The box has a decent amount of heft to it. It's a bit weighty. It should come as no surprise when talking about Xiaomi products that the box actually really reminds me of the Apple TV. Apple TV has a bit of weight to it, kind of looks roughly the same, has sort of the same dimensions, but it's pretty bare bones. There's nothing really to it. It's got the Mi logo there, and you'll notice around the sides here it's got this kind of like accent notch or whatever you want to call that. So again, here's the back. You got your audio, 3.5 audio out, no optical, which is a bit disappointing. Your HDMI, a USB port, and your power lead port there. On the bottom here, it just says Mi Box. It's got your serial number and a couple other informations and some feet. Now these feet are not rubberized, I don't think. No, they're just plastic, so they kind of are useless other than just to lift it slightly off of whatever you're going to put it on. That's a curious thing as well. I'm not sure why they wouldn't have little rubberized feet so that this guy doesn't slip around. But like I said, it does feel quite hefty. I wouldn't say it's heavy, but it does feel much better than some of the other kind of like generic Android boxes I've bought in the past from GearBest or Geek Buying. But anyway, that's going to do it for the unboxing portion of this video. Let me hook it up to my TV and give it a spin. Alright guys, here we go. We have the Xiaomi Mi Box S hooked up to my TV, and I already went through all the painstaking setup stuff. It actually was really easy. The setup process, basically I paired the Mi Box with my phone, and so via Bluetooth it, automatically installed apps and brought over all my account information, all that sort of stuff. So I was up and running pretty quickly. So as you can see, this is the Android TV interface. So one of the downsides to this is that you're not going to have access to every Android app out there. You're only going to have access to ones that are available for Android TV. Now, luckily, most of the apps that you want to use are going to be available for Android TV. So for instance, you can see up here, the way it works is this kind of bar up here are my most used apps. If I hit the little plus sign over here, it will bring me a list to all the apps on my device, and I can add them and then even move them around, etc., etc. This next thing here is Play Next. So basically what it will do is it will see what you were watching, and it will have a list of things that you can resume watching. Now you could also long press the center button in the remote to identify something in an app that you want to put in the Play Next section, which is really cool. Now you'll see YouTube here. This is just my subscriptions. And you have Tubi TV. This gives you some featured movies that are on there. Tubi TV, by the way, is a free app, and it's got a couple movies that you would have heard of. So Suspiria, for instance, is a great horror movie. But pretty much nothing else. If you're interested in kind of the asylum sort of movies, the ones that kind of take a Hollywood blockbuster and then slightly change the title and make really low budget movies, Tubi TV is great because you can watch all that stuff for free. It's pretty amazing. As you can see, I've been watching Two-Headed Shark Attack, which is just, I don't know how I missed this on regular television, but just really amazing cinema. So it's also got unsolved mysteries. So if you were like me and completely terrified by the theme music growing up as a kid, you might want to relive some of those awkward reenactments of real life mysteries. But they have all 12 seasons on Tubi TV. So a lot of people think that Amazon Prime is the only way to watch unsolved mysteries. Not so. And like I said, Tubi TV is awesome because it is totally free. So you have YouTube here. Obviously, this is my subscription. So I subscribe to like CNN and stuff, and some geeky stuff like gaming stuff. But you have Tubi, and then Haystack is another one. This is an interesting app because what you can do is you can identify things that you want to follow by hashtags. So if you want to follow like late night, so for instance here I got Jimmy Kimmel clips, I got Late Show, Colbert, Fallon, etc. That will appear in here. Now granted, you could watch all this stuff via your YouTube subscriptions, but Haystack is pretty cool because it will allow you, like I said, to follow stuff via hashtags, sort of like Twitter or Instagram. And it's heavy on current events and stuff like that. So as you can see, there's lots of Trump content in here. But they'll talk about the weather and whatnot, and it's pretty good. Spotify, I don't know why my thumbnails on Spotify are all pixelated like this. That's just how they are. But, Spotify is great. Weather Network as well is another cool little app that I have. It gives you weather videos and stuff like that. It's got a lot of cute animal videos as well. But again, why the images on my channel thing are pixelated, not sure. Twitch, same problem with the thumbnails, pixelation. Don't watch a lot of Twitch, but it's there and it works really well. Now, if we go all the way down, we can hit customize channels here. Now, this is where you can essentially click via these little buttons over here, these little sliders, what you want to appear on your home screen. So, for instance, if I wanted to have Netflix up on there, I could click on that, and then it usually, so you can see it kind of appear there. And it basically just has some featured movies and stuff. I find that kind of annoying, so I got rid of it. But some of these options, so like you see, YouTube here has a couple different sliders. So if you go into YouTube, it will say it has 3 channels. You can have recommended, subscriptions, or trending. I prefer just subscriptions because I don't like to get bogged down with too much of what's going on. But if you wanted to turn on the trending one, you'll see, again, what's trending on YouTube, what people are watching. But you can click that off and it disappears. So it's actually a really, really slick interface. Really loving the Android TV layout. I think it's really, really cool. Now, if I hit up here, you'll see that I can click to speak, or on the remote, which I'll just put right up here, there's a little button just at the top there. I can click on that, and that is your search function. So let me just click it on the remote, and I'll search for, I don't know, Donald Trump. Donald Trump. So as you can see, the voice recognition is really good. I've been playing around with it quite a bit. I've searched for apps via voice recognition. It doesn't really fail. It's actually really, really good. So I'm very, very impressed with the voice recognition on this particular device. I think it's excellent. Now, obviously, you'll see that I have Kodi on here. Kodi is hooked up to my personal server, and it works really, really well. I've tested the 265 codec films, and those work no problem. I haven't really done any gaming on this particular device. However, I have read quite a bit on how it is a capable emulation machine. So, you know, if you installed RetroArch and downloaded your cores and all that sort of stuff and had your ROMs, you'd be looking at a pretty decent probably Raspberry Pi sort of substitute if you wanted an all-in-one sort of solution. That being said, you probably want to invest in a controller. That's the only thing. My biggest disappointment with this is that, again, if you don't like to use the voice search function, you're going to be stuck hunting and pecking on a keyboard. It would have been nice if the remote on the flip side had maybe like some sort of basic keyboard functionality, because like right now I would have to, you know, move the cursor around on a virtual keyboard and press enter for every single letter I wanted to input. Well, other than that, I think it's really slick. I haven't had any issues with it whatsoever. I should also mention that it does have Google Cast, so Miracast. So if your phone supports that, you can, or your tablet, you can just shoot whatever's up on your phone, tablet, computer, or whatever onto your TV via the Mi Box. So it's got a built-in Chromecast, which is really handy. But other than that, it's great. I think for the price, like I said, I paid about $40 US at Walmart for this. I'm now back in Australia. It obviously works because it works on a 100 to 240 voltage. You just need a little adapter for the power supply. So great little box. Very, very impressed. Like I said, if you wanted to do some gaming, you probably could, and it would be quite capable. There's lots of YouTube videos and stuff showing you how to do that, how to configure everything, and what sort of games you could be expected to play on this. But it does feature a quad-core processor with 2 gigabytes of RAM, so you should be able to run quite a bit of stuff on there. But anyway, that's going to do it for this week. Hopefully you enjoyed this video on the Xiaomi Mi Box S. Leave me some comments. If you like this video, hit the little like button, and don't forget, if you have not subscribed to the channel, hit that little subscribe button because I release new content every single week. Anyway, thanks for watching. This is Gizmo Joe signing off.